Can the Sixers seriously count on Paul George and Jimmy Butler?
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Hello, I'm Keith Pompey, and this is my right-hand man, John Mitchell. We are the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. We got a lot to talk about today. But first, what's good, Mitch? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing excellent, Keith, man. Weather's starting to get nice. I'm doing very well.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. That's
You
what
good?
I like to hear. Yeah, I'm good. But here's the deal, bro. So there's been a lot of talk, first segment, a lot of talk about Paul George, Jimmy Butler. And as you pointed out to me, both of these guys have an injury history where they miss a lot of games. Now, Paul George played in a lot this season, but it's also a contract year. Right. So let's talk about can the 76ers rely? Can they count? Can they do whatever on these two players in the first segment? The second segment, let's talk about Kelly Oubre. And I got a feeling that we're going to agree on this one. But we got to ask the question, should he stay or go? Will he stay or go, right? And then thirdly, things that come to mind, third segment, we'll bring it up. I think we're going to stay fluid for this one. So it's going to be good, y'all. So if I was y'all, make sure you stay because we're just going to go in on anything. So stay for that one. But Mitch, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, these are two guys who miss a lot of games. Yeah. A lot of games. Yeah. And I don't know, man. Should the Sixers go after these guys and tell me a little bit more about all the games that they missed over the past X amount of seasons.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a segue, Keith, man, I just watching the youth being served in the NBA playoffs in 2024, man. A lot of these teams got 20-somethings out there. The NBA has now become a battle of attrition. I watch NBA games now, and it seems like the injury report is it's loaded with stars. But I mean, look at the guys we're talking about. We're talking about Paul George. Paul George, who I like as a player. I do like him as a player, but he's 34. In the last 5 years, Paul George has missed 142 games to injury. Now, he did, like you said, he did play in 74 last season. But again, this is contract year. Jimmy Butler's 34. He's going to be 35, when the season starts. Over the same stretch of years, he's missed 109 games over the last 5 years. And the most games he's appeared in a single season over that last 5 is 64. And last season, this past season, he played in 60. And we know we're constantly the nagging injuries that he carried with him. So, you couple that with Joel Embiid, a guy who has missed 336 games. It's the equivalent to 4 full NBA seasons since he was drafted out of Kansas. 4 full seasons. Obviously a super player, But again, that's more than 482 regular seasons, 82-game regular seasons. So, the question is going to be, they can very easily build a very competent playoff team. But the question is, will they be available? And it's chronic now with Joel. It becomes more chronic with the older guys, guys who are 4 and 5 years older than Joel. Very good players, but at what point do you just want to say? I mean, you don't have a coach. I mean, look at the New York Knicks. Tibbs grinds them up just like he would grind Chicago up, and he grinded up Minnesota. If you play in New York, you're going to get grinded. But that's not the expectation here in Philadelphia. You know, but if you're bringing in these older guys, these guys with some mileage on them, these high usage guys that the 76ers have, there have to be questions in your mind, man. And you know, when I talk to people, I'm hearing that people telling me, you know, that's a concern. You know, people are aware of Joel, you know, his extension. People are aware of, you know, these older guys breaking down, and people are concerned about it. So it's a good look. I mean, those guys are great players, but best ability, as we say, is availability. And I just don't know, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to me, you're right. That stuff could go terribly wrong. Like, you know, I mean, yeah, you got to commend Paul George for playing in 74 games this season.
Mm-hmm.
So he missed 8 games, and that's the most that he's done for a while. But it's also one of those things where Paul George is also trying to get paid, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of like, hey, look, you want to get more money than Kawhi, you want to get this and that. Well, if I'm Steve Ballmer, I'm saying, well, you know, you got to show me how available you are. And this year it's like, hey, look at me. It's kind of like a guy, unfortunately, it's like guys in contract years tend to have their best seasons statistically as well. So, you know, but him in his instance, it's not about statistics, it's about availability. So, you know what I mean? So that's one of those things that's like, yeah, it looks good, but at the same time, you're sitting there thinking like, what is really going on?
Right.
The Jimmy thing scares me too, because, you know, Jimmy is one of those guys, his body is so banged up that he doesn't even like playing in the All-Star game. Like he'll go there, he'll get selected, and he don't want to play. He just sits around, right?
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, that to me is something that you got to be careful, because if it goes wrong with one of those two, then you're done, because you had an opportunity to go out there and get other players that were going to fit in and players that were going to work. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of sort of like, this is what we got.
Yeah.
This is what we got. Yeah. So if I'm the Sixers, I'm being extremely cautious, and you know, and I get it. You know, the thought is that a Paul George, they feel like a Paul George is an elite passer to where they can run their offense through him, so to speak, and he can set people up. He could do a lot of things. He can play on the defensive end. Of course, he can do that. He can knock down shots. He can do a lot. They feel like he'll pit Embiid and Maxey in great situations. Kelly Oubre, if he's still a part of the team. But like you said, availability is the best ability. And something else we didn't even talk about is his injury history. I mean, excuse me, no, his lack of his not injury history. We're talking about his, and this is different, but playoff P isn't like playoff Jimmy Butler. You know what I mean? Playoff P certainly goes in decline.
Yeah.
And right now, it ain't about winning regular season games. It's about remaining healthy and having a guy that's going to dominate the postseason.
Right.
And he doesn't stay healthy, and he tends to falter in big games. So that's where I'm a little leery of. That's what I'm leery of.
Yeah, I mean, he had his invisible moments against Dallas, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think it's intrigue, because you know those guys make your team better, but for how many games? And do they make you better in May? You know, and that's crucial. You know, that's crucial. That's what we're really, really concerned about here. So we'll see. But listen, right now I want to talk to people about PrizePicks. What is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app, and more than 3 million people are playing it. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball and hockey on PrizePicks. Again, PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app. So do yourself a favor and download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100.
Do it today, people. But before we do that, I want to talk about another sponsor real quick, man. And this one is one that's really, really dear to the heart, right? I want to talk to y'all about FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bet with any winning $5 bet. That's 150 bucks on bets on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com to look at odds to include in your stuff. So do it today, people. I'm telling you, definitely do it today.
Keith, that was a good catch.
Yeah, all good, brother. All good. So here's my man. Look, we got to talk about this, y'all. This is what we got to talk about. Kelly Oubre. So Kelly Oubre has been it's been eventful, right? So Kelly Oubre signs with the Sixers at the end, like September.
Yeah.
For the minimum.
Yeah.
He says the first time he comes out there, he talks about how, hey, I ain't coming here to fit in. I came in here to be a standout. He's like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And he does. Then he goes and then the accident, the automobile accident or the bike accident, right? Cops can't find anything, but he said he got hit by somebody. So people looking at him side eye. Everybody in Philly like, what's up with this dude? Right?
Yeah.
He comes back and he starts balling. And then they're like, oh, nah, forget all about that. Then in the playoffs, he wrecks his purple Lambo, right? So then it's like the next day he shows up with a purple suit. Like, I don't care. F y'all. I'm that dude.
Pretty much.
But he was balling out, man, and became a fan favorite. And I'll be honest with you. I like Kelly. Kelly is the type, is that dude, when you listen to him, he's smart as heck. And I hate when people see black guys and they're like, oh, well, he's very well spoken. You know, this and that, because you won't say that about TJ McConnell. Or
you always say that about black athletes.
Yeah, about black athletes. But the thing that I like about him is that when he talks, you can tell that he's very well read. And what I mean by that is, like, he'll say something like Socrates, and then he'll say some other stuff. You're like, hey, dude, like, you just, you can tell that he's, very well read. And I like that. And that would be black, white, whatever, but he's just a deeper dude,
He's just different.
He's just different. He's a different guy. I like that. But as far as on the basketball court, he's played well, man. He's played well. The problem is a lot of times when you get that minimum salary contract, it's hard for guys to get out of it. Look at Drummond. Drummond came to Philly, got that minimum. He been getting that small time money. Now, if you're the Sixers and you paid the guy the minimum before, they may be able, like, we could see him getting 6, something like that.
Right.
But if I'm Kelly, you can look at it like, I bought out. I should be making more, right? Maybe even making more. So my question to you is, does he stay? I mean, I'm assuming we both agree that he should stay, but do you think that he will?
I mean, like you said, he's a different guy, man. And I know during the exit interviews, he was, if I heard him say that he just wants to go somewhere where he's loved. At the end of the day, and I'm actually reading a quote from him. At the end of the day, I want to go somewhere where they respect and love me. It's been nothing but love here. Then he says, I don't know about the business side of it. I mean, I do, but I can tell you that I know. Tell you what I know because I represent myself right now. So he's not an agent.
He had one. He had Tobias Harris pop. Terrell was his agent, but Terrell was telling him, Philly was his best choice. He didn't want to hear that. He fired Terrell, and then he ended up signing with Philly.
And he came to Philly, man.
Anyway, you know what I mean?
So that means his wife is his agent right now. You hope she's not saying, "Hey Kelly, when you had that bicycle accident or whatever accident was, they got all over you. They were more concerned about that than they were concerned about your health and your well-being." But I want Kelly Oubre to stay. I think that Kelly Oubre is a very good basketball player, and it's just kind of baffling to me. And I know he was on like a 2-year, $20 million deal in Charlotte, and played well when he was in Charlotte. If I'm not mistaken, he was a 20-point scorer. His
career high.
Yeah. So the fact that I didn't have any problem with Kelly Oubre the way he played. And in fact, he was a breath of fresh air. And at times, in the final third of the season, he appeared to be their number 3 guy more often than Tobias was. So I'm hoping that Kelly Oubre stays. I'm hoping that they can find a number that works for him. But let's be quite honest, he's I think teams are going to look at him. He also showed that he's a better defensive player than he was expected to be. So I think teams are going to look at him, and they may, you don't want to get in a bidding war for Kelly Oubre Jr., but you're a better basketball team with Kelly Oubre on your roster.
I believe that they are a better basketball team with Kelly Oubre on their roster. I do, but I disagree with you as far as teams really going after him like that. And here's my reason. I'm going to be honest. Mm-hmm. Because when it came down to it, the reason why Kelly Oubre became a 76er is because nobody else wanted him. Nobody else. You know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, he burnt bridges wherever else he was at. Like when he was in Phoenix, him and Booker didn't get along. Now you could say they were young guys. When he goes to Golden State, it was one of those things where, they wanted him to come off the bench. He didn't want to come off the bench. So that became a little bit of a struggle. So then he goes to Charlotte, and I don't know what happened. But something happened to where his relationship out there soured. So he comes to Philly. He comes to Philly after a career high, but Philly was the only team that wanted him. Now, the thing that the reason why, as good as a player that Kelly is, the reason why I don't think he's going to have a huge market, and I could be wrong, but there are 3 reasons that I believe that Kelly's not going to have a huge market. One is, one of them is the car accident,
right?
The bicycle thing, right? So they're looking at that. So that's a major thing, right? The second one is when he said, F you, your mama, your grandmama, all this other stuff in the game, right? And then the third thing,
can't hold that.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. And then the third thing to me is going to be the when he wrecked his car. So what I'm saying is, from the outside looking in, now, first of all, he don't have anybody representing him. If he had somebody representing him, they'd be like, yo, this is what happened, yada, yada. But when you're representing yourself and you don't have that type of counsel or got that type of guidance from people, right, helping you with your image, they're going to look at it like, nah, we don't think this dude changed. And the Sixers are going to be able to say, look, this is what you got. This is what people are offering you. Take it or leave it. That's how I feel.
Why do you think the Sixers will stand behind him if other teams won't?
Because I think
They
they
know it.
know what they got. I mean, they
Yeah,
know what a good player he is. And
yeah,
let's face it, if you can get him on the cheap, you got him on the cheap.
yeah. That's true.
You know,
That's
you
true.
know.
True.
So that's it.
Listen, right now I'm going to talk once again. I'm going to talk to our listeners about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. So get in on the playoff action and win to 100 times your money on PrizePicks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. And basketball's winding down. You got the semis, you got the conference finals, and you got the finals. So all I'm going to say is do it today. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Do it today.
Yeah. So here's my thing. Like you talk about the young guns, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure this is something that we'll go extensively in a little while later for another show, maybe even tomorrow. But we talk about young guns, and you look at it. Joel Embiid is the most dominant player um, in the league when healthy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But when you look at it and you're saying that there's a youth movement, and you look at a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who
Mm-hmm.
most improved player, Tyrese Maxey, who had 3 games of 50 points or more or
Yeah.
more, Tyrese Maxey, most electrifying, let's say one of the quickest dudes in the league. Do you think the youth movement, do you think the fact that he's on the roster, a young guy,
Mm-hmm.
is helps with that? Like it comes to a point where that Embiid has an injury history. That less is more. Probably you need his, we say, availability.
Is is
Is
the
the
best,
huh?
is the best ability.
Is the best ability. Yeah, because I was getting tongue tied right then and there. So when you think so when you have that, is it one of those things where you look at it in the free agent market and like, yo, we may have to go get somebody that's going to help with Tyrese. We
Yeah.
may need to feature him more. Like we have these older guys, this and that. They can just do enough to get by, but we need to go get a young gun, and we also need to take advantage of Tyrese because Tyrese can ascend,
Yeah.
and we'll be talking about him just like we're talking about Shea Gilgeous, just like we're talking about Anthony Edwards. I'm talking about, that's what the Sixers could feel like. What I mean, do you think that could be an option, like leaning on him more so than, even though you may get a 30 something, but lean on Maxey more so?
Absolutely. I mean, theoretically, if they bring Jimmy Butler or Paul George in, I still see, and that's going to be the interesting thing. And I think those guys, because of their advanced age, I think Tyrese Maxey is your #2 out of that bunch. And I know it's going to be that's going to be some chemical issues for 34, 35-year-old all-stars. Uh, but, a good general manager doesn't just build for the immediate run. A good general manager and good organizations um, build for the long range. And let's be honest. I know we talked about it earlier. The top players under 25 in this league, I would put Tyrese Maxey in the top 5 players. 23 and under. Ant-Man obviously is king, but Tyrese is in that max. Is in that mix.
So who would be your other guys? I mean, not to put you on the
No,
spot.
23 and under. Well, I'll be honest with you. To me, if I'm having an all league draft right now, I'm taking Wemby over everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not even close. So yeah, so obviously at 19,
You
Max
said under 25 or under 23?
under 23.
Okay,
Under
all right,
23. Under 23.
yeah.
And here's another thing. How old is Ja?
Ja Morant.
Yeah. Crazy as
Let's
Ja is.
like that's the thing. Let me check it out right quick.
He's young and injured.
Yeah, let's see. I know Ja Morant. Wow, it keep popping up. Shopping. He's 24.
24.
So yeah, he just missed it. Shea Gilgeous is 25. So you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think
Zion Williams is. You said 23.
Yeah.
Zion is 23.
It was when healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
when healthy. That's that's the NBA. If you're a star, the next thing is, are you healthy?
Yeah.
So
you know who else who hurt himself as far as lack of availability? And who knows, because he plays on a trash team too. But everybody remember LaMelo Ball was supposed to be that guy. And he's one of those dudes who he's only 22 years old.
And
he missed a lot of games.
Yeah.
A lot of games.
Yeah, that family, you hope his brother can get himself together. That knee comes around. But when healthy, I put him in there, and it's crazy that has to be a caveat when you're healthy,
Yeah.
But yeah, so a player like Maxey makes, he's 7 years younger than Joel. So having a player playing at an elite level, you would want to say, you know what, as we build moving forward, he's the cornerstone beyond Joel. I mean, Joel is the present cornerstone, and as long as he can stay healthy. So, and again, that's a horrible caveat, because if you're not there, you're not there. Whereas Maxey is 23, he's available. Played a lot of minutes this year and is going to continue to get high usage. But if you can, you have to be, Daryl Morey and the organization has to be looking forward and saying, hey, 8-9 years down the road when Joel's not here, Tyrese will be turning 30 and still in his prime.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. So we'll see. We'll have we'll see. It's going to be an interesting summer, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll learn a lot about what Morey's trying to do, what the Sixers trying to do, what they do with these draft picks they have, everything.
Yeah.
But for now, let's talk about Locked On. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channel app. You know what? I'm happy tonight that we have basketball. I watched the WNBA game yesterday. It was competitive. But then when it went off, I'm like, man, what else am I watch? Like, what else am I going to watch? And no offense, but I like baseball. I just don't like watching it on TV. I just can't get into it on TV.
I'm actually watching the Phillies a lot, man. I might even get out to the ballpark to see Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get down there.
Yeah, when do they play Texas?
That is beginning tonight.
Oh, well.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I'm like you, man. I prefer these NBA playoffs are going to get very good. And tonight is Boston.
Yeah, Boston and Indy. Yeah, one team is going to be well rested. The other team is in rhythm. So you know how that goes. So whoever wins, you know how it is. Whoever wins, if Boston wins, they're going to say, well, they had a week off and they were a couple of days off. They were able to, relax. And if they lose, I'm like, oh, they were a little rusty. And if Indiana wins, they were they were like in rhythm.
Right.
And if they lose, they were gassed. It's always something. But
don't forget if Boston looks rusty tonight, people will say, "Well, they haven't been trusted all in the playoffs." You know?
Exactly. So we'll see. But look, y'all, we want to thank y'all for listening. We want to make sure you guys have a blessed day, a blessed week, the whole nine, and we'll be back tomorrow to talk more about your 76ers. Peace,
y'all.